to wear independently?
Dressing, oh yeah, I can get dressed all by myself. And I usually do it like based off of what the weather is, so if it's cold outside or hot outside, and also like where I'm going. So I have to wear different clothes for work.
Okay. Are you able to do grooming tasks such as brushing your hair and brushing your teeth?
Yes, I can do stuff like brushing my hair and brushing my teeth all by myself.
Okay. Are you able to keep your house clean and orderly, such as washing dishes, sweeping, and dusting?
Housekeeping stuff I can do by myself. I know how to wash the dishes and sweep and dust, even though I don't like to dust. But I can do all that kind of stuff by myself.
Are you able to load a washer and dryer and know when to take the clothes out when doing laundry?
I can do the laundry by myself. I know how to like load the washer and the dryer and when to take them out. But sometimes I do get confused on like which setting to put them on, like which buttons to mash or like which way to turn the knob or something.
you able to express your feelings on paper?
I can express my feelings on paper. I recently started journaling, so like kind of a little diary thing, and just writing how I feel that day and some other stuff.
At work, are you aware of all the safety precautions that you have to follow?
I can follow the safety precautions at work, like I know what they are, but there's some of them that I think I don't know. Like I don't really know where to take some stuff or whatever, but I do know most of them.
The Routine Task Inventory Expanded is abbreviated as RTI-E. It is an assessment of cognitive abilities in the context of daily activities. The manual can be downloaded on the Allen Cognitive Network website at no cost.
The test should take 1 to 2 hours to administer. The scoring is based on familiarity with the client and observation done during many days in different contexts. It should be done over several different sessions and is not based on one-time task performance. This is why it's referred to as routine task performance. This test has high inter-rater, test-retest, and internal consistency reliability. Inter-rater reliability is when two different clients who take the same test should be able to achieve around the same results. Test-retest reliability is when the same client should be able to achieve the same score if they were to take the same test again. And internal consistency reliability is when questions on a test are correlated in order to determine how well they measure the same concept. The RTIE is intended to assess the degree to which the cognitive disability restriction interferes with everyday task performance through observation of task behavior according to Allen's cognitive levels. The purpose of this assessment tool is to promote the safe, routine performance of an individual's valued occupations and to maximize participation in life situations. The population is mostly adults with cognitive disabilities such as depression, dementia, post-stroke, and schizophrenia. These routine tasks or activities are divided into 4 subscales: physical scale ADLs such as dressing, bathing, feeding; community scale IADLs such as housekeeping, preparing and obtaining food, and doing laundry; communication scale such as listening, comprehension, and reading; and work readiness scale such as maintaining schedule, following instructions, performing simple and complex tasks. Functional cognition is assessed based on therapists' direct observation of performance in naturalistic contexts or on the perceptions of performance reported by the client or a caregiver using a checklist or standardized interview questions. Scores are associated with the Allen scale of cognitive levels 1 through 6, and a mean score is calculated for each subscale. There are no contraindications for this assessment tool because it is simply determining the cognitive level of the client's ability to be independent. Since this assessment is performed in a client's natural environment, there shouldn't be any extraneous factors to affect their usual performance.
The routine task inventory has been expanded to include using adaptive equipment in the physical scale and childcare in the community scale, a communication scale, and a work scale. An adaptation that can be made for the therapist observation portion is to use a room that has a two-way mirror available. The therapist can be on the opposite side of the mirror observing the patient perform the tasks without the patient knowing they are being observed. This can be done so that the client does not have any extra pressure added to the situation, causing possible scoring disturbances. This assessment should be given at different times of the day for separate session days, because their mood and functional abilities could change throughout the day. This could affect, for example, their strength to take a shower at night versus the morning, or traveling at nighttime versus the daytime, or their mood to communicate with someone. The Routine Task Inventory Expanded provides occupational therapists with an overall guide of how well the client is able to perform the occupations on their own and to assess what they need to work on to do meaningful occupations. It is thought of as an activity analysis and a functional evaluation instrument. The therapists have to think about what client factors and performance skills are needed for each activity and how to adapt and grade the activities for the client to make it simpler or more challenging. This assessment tool can be used during the evaluation process of a client to determine their strengths, weaknesses, and independence level. The intervention plan can then be developed based on the score outcomes to increase their independence. The score sheet comprises 4 categories: physical scale ADL, community scale IADL, communication scale, and work readiness scale. Each category is broken down into several subcategories. The physical scale ADL has a score range between 1 and 5. The community scale IADL has a score range between 2 and 6. The communication scale has a score range between 1 and 6. And the work readiness scale has a score range between 2 and 6. A score of 6 equals independence, 5 equals standby assistance, 4 equals minimum assistance, 3 equals moderate assistance, 2 equals maximal assistance, and 1 equals total assistance. There is a self-report section, a caregiver report section, and a therapist observation section. The self-report section is done by the therapist asking the client questions about how well they can perform certain tasks, and the therapist will record these responses on the score sheet. The caregiver section is done by the therapist asking the caregiver questions about how well the client can perform certain tasks, and the therapist will record these responses on the score sheet. For the therapist section, the therapist will have the client perform several tasks in their natural environment and will observe how well they can perform these tasks on their own, and then record these observations on the score sheet. The therapist should observe the client performing at least 4 tasks. The assessment does not have to contain scores from all 3 people. Only scores from 1 person can be obtained. This assessment tool is usually given and scored by the therapist.